They don't want you to know this. Not your teachers, not your boss, not the ones who raised you. Because the moment you understand these lessons, really understand them, you become uncontrollable. You stop waiting. You stop obeying. You stop living by the rules they built to keep you small. This isn't motivation. This isn't inspiration. This is a weapon. A weapon that once wielded will shatter every illusion, every excuse, every chain you've been carrying. 7 lessons. 7 truths they never wanted you to hear. Most people won't make it to the end. They'll get uncomfortable. They'll resist. They'll turn away because facing these truths means taking responsibility, and responsibility is too heavy for the weak. But if you stay, if you listen, if you absorb every word, you will never be the same again, and they will never see you coming. Let's begin. Lesson 1. Own your story. Rewriting the narrative of your life. You were not born to be a prisoner of circumstance. You were not placed here to be another nameless soul swallowed by the weight of the past. Listen to me. Your story is yours to command. And if you don't seize the pen, the world will write your ending for you. Somewhere along the way, you were told who you are. Maybe it was whispered by failure. Maybe it was carved into your skin by regret. Maybe it was screamed at you by people who never saw your worth. And you believed it. You let their words, their judgments, their rejections form the chains that bind you now. But today, that ends. You are not a victim of what has happened to you. You are the architect of what happens next. Every scar, every mistake, every moment you fell and thought you'd never rise again, it was fuel. You just didn't know it yet. The past does not define you unless you bow to it, unless you kneel before its ghost, and let it whisper the lie that you are broken, that you are weak, that you are not enough. No. Enough is what you decide you are. Strength is what you decide to forge. Power is what you take back when you stop blaming the world and start owning your choices. Everything you want begins the moment you turn inward and say, "This is my life. This is my story, and I refuse to let someone else hold the pen." But to do that, you must kill the narrative that has kept you caged. You must rip it apart, line by line, and rewrite it with blood and fire. Every failure, it was a lesson. Every loss, it was a redirection. Every time the world spat in your face, it was a test to see if you would break or if you would rise. So here is your task. Take a moment. Dig into the depths of your past. Find that one failure, that one moment that haunts you, and drag it into the light. Look it in the eye, strip it of its power, and transform it. What did it teach you? How did it shape the warrior standing here today? Write it down. Own it. And then set fire to the shame, the regret, the weight of what was. Because after today, you are no longer chained to it. You are free. Your past was the prologue. Now, it's time to write the next chapter. Lesson 2. Obsession beats motivation. Fueling your fire without relying on feelings. You've been lied to. They told you that motivation was the key. That if you just stayed inspired, if you just kept yourself in the right mindset, success would come knocking at your door. But look around. How many people do you know who started strong, filled with motivation, only to crash and burn the moment things got hard? Motivation is a fleeting spark. It flares up, shines bright, and then dies the second the winds of resistance hit. But obsession is the fire that never stops burning. Obsession doesn't wait for the right moment, the right feeling, the right conditions. Obsession wakes up before the sun and works while the rest of the world sleeps. You see, motivation is a luxury, but obsession is a necessity. The weak chase motivation. They wait for it like beggars, hoping that someday they'll feel ready, that someday inspiration will strike, that someday the stars will align and everything will just click into place. But those who truly win, those who carve their names into history, they don't wait for someday. They take action now. They're obsessed with the mission. And because of that, they don't need motivation. Their drive doesn't depend on how they feel. It doesn't depend on external validation, on applause, on some temporary high. It is built into their identity. So ask yourself, are you interested or are you obsessed? There's a difference. The interested person talks about their goals. They fantasize, they plan, they dip their toes into the water when it feels good. But the obsessed drown themselves in their purpose. They don't need a push. They don't need encouragement. They don't need a damn thing from anyone, because they know that their destiny is theirs to build or destroy. Obsession is what makes a writer bleed over every page, rewriting the same sentence 100 times to make it perfect. Obsession is what makes an athlete push through pain, through exhaustion, through every fiber of their body screaming to stop. Obsession is what makes an entrepreneur work until their eyes blur, knowing that the rest of the world will never understand the sacrifices they make. Obsession is what separates the great from the forgotten. And you have to decide. Because if you're not obsessed, you will lose. You will fall to the wayside with the millions of others who wanted success, but weren't willing to suffer for it. Because that's what obsession is. It's suffering with purpose. It's bleeding and burning and breaking and still coming back for more. Because there is no other option. The world will try to break you. It will throw distractions at you, tempt you with comfort, lull you into a life of mediocrity. It will whisper, take a break, slow down, you've done enough. And that's the moment you must dig deep. Because obsession isn't about balance. It isn't about playing it safe. It's about pushing past every limit, every excuse, every moment of doubt, until there is no separation between you and your mission. You become it. So here is your task. Take a goal, one that matters, one that makes your blood boil, one that you know deep down is your purpose. Write it down. And now ask yourself, am I interested in this, or am I obsessed? And if the answer isn't obsession, if you can walk away from it, if you can take a day off without it gnawing at your soul, then it's time to either abandon it or change yourself. Because only the obsessed will survive. Lesson 3. Process over results. Falling in love with the daily grind. You want to win. I know that. But what if I told you that wanting to win is exactly what's holding you back? Everyone wants the results, the victory, the wealth, the power, the recognition. That's easy. That's human nature. But here's the truth that will separate you from the rest. It's not about the outcome. It's about the process. The ones who truly rise, the ones who dominate in their field, they don't obsess over the finish line. They fall in love with the race. The weak are addicted to results. They chase the high of achievement. And when it doesn't come fast enough, they break. They start questioning if it's worth it, if they should keep going, if they were ever capable in the first place. The obsessed, they don't care about the scoreboard. They care about mastery. See, when you focus on results, you make yourself a slave to something you can't control. You become desperate. You start cutting corners. You get impatient. And eventually you quit because the finish line feels too far away. But when you focus on the process, when you show up day after day, no matter what, you become unstoppable. Think about it. The greatest fighters in the world don't focus on the championship belt. They focus on the daily grind. They master every movement, every strike, every ounce of their endurance, knowing that when the moment comes, the results will take care of themselves. The greatest musicians don't fixate on selling out arenas. They perfect their craft. They play when no one is listening, when the world doesn't care, when they are the only ones who believe. The greatest entrepreneurs don't chase money. They chase systems, building, refining, repeating, knowing that fortune follows process. You are not owed results. You are only owed what you earn through discipline. And discipline is built in the trenches, on the days when no one is watching, when there's no reward, no dopamine hit, no applause. That is where winners are made. And that's why most people fail. They are too addicted to validation. If they don't see progress fast enough, they break. They tell themselves it wasn't meant to be. They abandon the process because they never respected it in the first place. But you have a choice. You can chase outcomes like the rest of the world, impatient, desperate, weak, or you can make a different decision. You can commit to the grind. You can fall in love with the small, relentless, thankless work that no one else is willing to do. Because if you do that, if you surrender to the process, something changes. Suddenly, the results don't own you anymore. You're not trapped by the need for quick success. You become dangerous. Because no matter what happens, you will still show up. And eventually, the world will have no choice but to bow to you. So here is your task. Take your biggest goal and break it down. Not into deadlines, not into expectations, but into daily, repeatable actions. What can you do every single day with no reward, no validation, no immediate success, purely for the love of mastery? Write it down, and then commit to it. Not for a week, not for a month, but for life. Because the ones who master the process, they own the results. Lesson 4. Engineer your own luck. Success isn't random, it's designed. You think luck is real? You think the successful just stumbled into their fortune? That the powerful were simply born into their status? That the greats woke up one day and found themselves at the top? No. Luck is an illusion. A story told by the weak to justify their failure. A lie whispered in the dark corners of mediocrity to make people feel better about their own inaction. Because here's the truth. The ones who rise, they engineer their luck. They manufacture their opportunities. They position themselves in ways that force success to happen. Luck is nothing more than preparation, meeting opportunity. And opportunities? They don't fall from the sky. They don't knock on your door while you sit around hoping. They are created by relentless effort, by strategic positioning, by refusing to wait for the perfect moment, and instead forcing the moment to exist. The unsuccessful sit around, praying for a break, hoping for a chance, complaining that life is unfair. They call others lucky, while ignoring the years of discipline, the sacrifices, the sleepless nights that went into building that so-called luck. Meanwhile, the obsessed, the ones who refuse to lose, they are out there every single day, sharpening their weapons, strengthening their position, aligning themselves for the moment that will change everything. And when that moment comes, they don't hesitate. They don't question if they're ready. They strike because they've been engineering their own luck from the very beginning. Now look at your life. Look at your goals. Are you waiting for a break? Or are you creating one? Are you hoping for the right connections? Or are you putting yourself in the right places? Are you waiting for knowledge to magically come to you? Or are you studying, grinding, mastering your craft, so that when the opportunity arises, you are the only logical choice? Success is not an accident. It's a formula. And if you are not deliberately stacking the odds in your favor, then you're playing a game that you will lose. So here is your task. Identify 3 ways you can engineer your own luck this month. What skill do you need to sharpen so that when the door opens, you are ready? What room do you need to enter to be surrounded by people who can elevate you? What small daily action can you take to position yourself for the success you claim you want? Write it down, then act on it. Because those who sit and wait for luck, they die in obscurity. But those who create it, they are the ones the world calls unstoppable. Lesson 5. Abundance mindset. Scarcity is a lie. There's more than enough for those who take it. They taught you wrong. Since the day you could understand words, they programmed you to believe in scarcity, that there's only so much success to go around, that there's only so much money, so many opportunities, so much power. And if someone else takes it, there's less for you. So you grew up clawing, competing, fearing. You saw others winning, and it felt like they were stealing something from you. You learned to think small, to hoard what little you had, to protect instead of expand, to survive instead of dominate. But here's the truth. The world isn't limited. Your mindset is. There is no shortage of success. There is no ceiling on wealth. There is no cap on opportunity. But the weak, the ones trapped in the scarcity mentality, will never see this. They will forever be afraid. Afraid to give, afraid to share, afraid to risk. Because in their mind, they are playing a game where there aren't enough trophies to go around. The strong, the ones who take over the game, they see abundance everywhere. They know that success isn't a pie with a limited number of slices. They know that money isn't disappearing. It's just moving, constantly shifting, waiting for someone smart enough, obsessed enough, ruthless enough to position themselves in the right place to receive it. They know that wealth is not stolen, it's created. That power is not taken, it's built. And because of that, they move differently. While the weak guard their small gains, the strong invest. While the weak fear losing, the strong risk strategically. While the weak see competition, the strong see collaboration, expansion, and leverage. The successful know that helping others does not take away from them. It multiplies their value. That the more they grow, the more they can create. And the more they can create, the more they can dominate. Scarcity makes you weak. Abundance makes you dangerous. So let me ask you, where in your life are you thinking small? Where are you operating from fear instead of power? Where are you holding back instead of expanding? Where are you hoarding instead of creating? If you keep seeing the world through the lens of scarcity, you will stay small. But if you can flip the switch, if you can start seeing opportunities instead of limitations, if you can start recognizing that the world is overflowing with chances for those bold enough to take them, you will become unstoppable. So here is your task. Find one area of your life where you've been acting from scarcity. Maybe it's fear of investing in yourself. Maybe it's hesitation to make a move because you're afraid to lose what little you have. Maybe it's a belief that you don't have enough time, enough money, enough connections. Identify it. Destroy it. Then take one action today that proves to yourself that abundance is real. Because once you shift into an abundance mindset, once you start moving like there's always more, always another way, always another level, you will never be controlled by fear again. You will be the one who controls everything. Lesson 6. Be blissfully dissatisfied. The balance between contentment and relentless growth. You hear it everywhere. Be grateful. Be content with what you have. Happiness is about appreciating the moment. And that's where most people get it wrong. Because while gratitude is powerful, and while being present is essential, there's a dangerous trap hidden in that mindset. The trap of complacency. See, most people think they have two choices. Be satisfied, which means accepting what they have, and settling. Be hungry, which means constantly chasing more and never being happy. But the truth? The real winners live in the paradox. They are blissfully dissatisfied. They wake up every morning grateful for what they have, but completely unwilling to stop where they are. They respect their progress, but they are not fooled into thinking the journey is over. They refuse to let comfort soften them, to let success sedate them, to let satisfaction kill their hunger. Because hunger is life. The moment you lose it, the moment you say, "This is enough," the moment you stop reaching, you start dying. Look at the greatest athletes, the most powerful entrepreneurs, the legends in any field. Did they stop when they made their first million? Did they stop when they won their first title? Did they stop when the world told them they had made it? No, because making it is a lie. It's an illusion, built for the weak, for those who want an excuse to quit early. The obsessed, the ones who rewrite history, they understand that the game never ends. And that's where blissful dissatisfaction comes in. It means waking up grateful for the fight but still hungry for war. It means appreciating the climb but demanding the next peak. It means recognizing your progress but refusing to stay at this level. Because there is always another level. And that's what you need to burn into your mind right now. There is no final destination. The second you think you've arrived, you've lost. The second you slow down, someone hungrier than you will take your place. So here's the challenge. Look at your life. Where have you started to settle? Where have you let gratitude turn into comfort? Where have you let good enough replace what's next? Write it down. Identify it. And then do one thing today to prove to yourself that you're still hungry. Because the ones who stay blissfully dissatisfied, they never stop evolving. And because of that, they can never be stopped. Lesson 7. The Master Key. Discipline over everything. Your future is built on the choices you make daily. This is it. The final piece. The master key that separates the weak from the powerful, the dreamers from the doers, the forgotten from the legendary. Discipline. Not talent, not luck, not motivation. Discipline is the foundation, the iron law, the force that bends reality to your will. Because listen to me, without discipline, nothing else matters. You can have all the motivation in the world, but if you only work when you feel like it, you will lose. You can have the biggest dreams, the most ambitious plans, but if you don't have the discipline to execute daily, you will stay exactly where you are. You can read every book, watch every video, take in all the knowledge, but if you don't have the discipline to apply it relentlessly, you will remain powerless. This is the truth most people can't handle. Nobody cares about your feelings. The universe doesn't care if you're tired. Success doesn't care if you're uninspired. Your dreams don't care if today isn't convenient. Winners show up every single day. Discipline is what makes the difference when motivation dies. Discipline is what keeps you moving when everyone else quits. Discipline is what builds an unstoppable machine out of the person you were yesterday. And the best part? It's not genetic. It's not magic. It's a choice. You either wake up and do the work, or you don't. The weak make excuses. The strong follow the process. The obsessed don't ask if they will work today. They just execute. It's not about feelings. It's not about inspiration. It's about commanding yourself to act, no matter what. And this is where most people break. They say they want it. They say they're committed. But when it gets uncomfortable, when it requires sacrifice, when it forces them to go beyond their limits, they fold. They want the reward, but they don't want the suffering that comes with it. And that's why they fail. But you are here because you are ready to be different. Because you refuse to live and die as one of the many. Because you are done negotiating with your excuses. So here's your final task. Pick one habit, one thing you know you need to do daily that will take you to the next level. Maybe it's waking up earlier. Maybe it's training harder. Maybe it's cutting out distractions. Maybe it's showing up even when you don't feel like it. Whatever it is, commit to it. Not for a week, not for a month, but forever. Because once you master discipline, once you make it your religion, there is nothing that can stop you. This is your moment. Discipline over everything. Now go build the life they said you never could. If you're still here, you're not like the rest. Most people tap out. They hear the truth, and they run. But you stood in the fire. You listened. And now, you're armed with something most will never have. The blueprint to take control of your own life. To our returning warriors, you already know what this is. The GrimFace movement isn't for the weak. It's for those who refuse to be shackled by society's limits. For those who are willing to fight for their own destiny. You keep coming back because you understand that growth is war, and we fight together. To those of you just joining us, welcome. But understand this, you don't get stronger by watching. You get stronger by acting, by committing, by stepping beyond motivation and turning this into a way of life. And now, we're taking it further. Beyond YouTube, beyond algorithms, beyond distractions. The GrimFace website is live. This is where the real ones gather. Where we sharpen our minds, where we push past limits, where we stay connected no matter what. Subscribe now, get in, stay locked in. Because what we're building isn't just content, it's a revolution. You already took the first step by being here. Now, the question is, will you take the next one? The choice is yours. We'll see you on the inside. GrimFace, out.